I've always been a big Johnny Cash fan. John and I have one thing in common. We both learnt 3 chords and thought, yeah, that'll do. But I liked John because he was an honest man. He made a lot of mistakes in his early days, but finally there was a real change, and he had a real epiphany, he went back to his gospel roots. And from that point on, he said, I don't have a career, but I've got a ministry. And whenever he was even playing a secular gig, he would always put something about redemption, about the possibility that God could come and change somebody through Jesus. I wrote this particular song one day after I had a message from a daughter that simply said, Johnny's gone, and I felt kind of sad. And I went back to the place where I'd been staying, and I wrote this song. I finished at about 3 o'clock in the morning, so the people I was living with still know it quite well. Big John. Big John was a friend of mine, though we never met. Taught me lots of things that I know, things I'll never forget. Big John was a buddy of mine, though we never spoke. Always had a twinkling eye, a remark or a joke. Keep it simple, keep it plain, just 3 chords and the truth. Always fighting for the underdog, redemption, not an eye or a tooth. Man in black, we'll miss you a lot. Now you're free from your pain, but we'll meet again someday by the trestle, down by the train. Hold it steady, keep your nerve. Black dog inside wants to bite. The beast in me was touched by the king. Jesus is just all right. Big John was a friend of mine, though we never met. Taught me lots of things that I know, things I'll never forget. Taught me lots of things that I know, and he ain't through yet. Some years ago I was travelling with some friends of mine in Poland, singing and speaking in all kinds of places, schools, universities, churches, everywhere. And one day we were singing out in the open air, and we spent quite a long time doing that. And by which time we were kind of thirsty and hungry, so we went and found an ice cream seller. In those days you could buy a bucket of ice cream for about 18 pence. So we went and had some ice creams and came back to where the gear was. Somebody had been looking after it. And I noticed in the far corner of the park where we were, there was a crowd gathering. So being a nosy kind of a guy, I went over to have a look. And when I got there and finally got through the crowd, I saw this young man lying on the floor. And by the side of him was an empty vodka bottle. He was probably about 27, 28 years old. And he was dying. And by the time the paramedics got there, he'd gone. And I just felt so very sad. And I turned to the young girl, Gosha, who was my translator, and said, if I stand on that wall, will you translate for me? And I wasn't sure what to say, but I just stood on the wall and ended up saying, I know somebody who'll give you a drink and you'll never be thirsty again. And suddenly the whole place kind of turned and listened. And later on that day, we managed to bring a whole crowd of these people and others too to a local culture house where we sang and played and prayed and sang and preached and wept and cried and talked late into the night. And maybe sometime during that time, some people for the first time began to see that there's a way out from the kind of life that they were living. And some of the local believers came and joined and helped with that. But that was a kind of a special time in a strange, very sad way. I ended up writing this song around that situation. Empty can, broken man, lying on the earth. One's a coke and one's a joke, who's forgotten what he's worth. Just lying there under an early sky. One is drained and one's in pain, and no one's wondering why. All of us are changing gears as we pass along. No one's wondering where he's gone. All of us are changing places as we pass on by. No one's ever wondering why. Beer-stained table, dirt-stained floor. Bottle down, it's time to drown, is all he's looking for. All of us are changing gears as we pass along. No one's wondering where he's gone. All of us are changing places as we pass on by. No one's ever wondering why. Empty can, broken man, lying on the earth. One's a coke and one's a joke, who's forgotten what he's worth.